I wanted to share something about life, resilience, creativity, self-confidence, and I'm going to explain it through the lens of an artist. I've been working on a piece, and I've probably spent the last 2-3 days, let's say about 10 hours on this piece, from sort of the concept to laying down the foundation. But I want to share the journey, the process of the artist. And when I mean process, I don't mean the actual transfer of paint onto the canvas. I mean the emotional, cerebral, even spiritual, intellectual process, the journey that includes intuition and a gut feeling. So in a minute, I'm going to turn around and flip and show you the piece, but this journey was quite challenging because mid-journey, I needed to change direction. And I'm going to sort of explain a part of the value of thinking like an artist in life is that we face challenges and we've made commitments to life and we invest time in a career, in a partner, and we've spent so much time investing in that thing that it becomes very hard to walk away, because you're like, well, crap, I've spent all these years on this person. I can't walk away now. I'm going to waste my time. And there's validity to that. And I could have said the same thing with this piece. I've spent 10 hours on this piece. I can't move away from the concept and start all over again. But however, that's what artists we do. And when I mean artists, I mean in probably every form of the art world that you can imagine. We oftentimes invest our heart and soul in something. We have to learn to walk away. It's called cognitive dissonance when we can't walk away from our belief systems. It can be religious, it can be political, it can be cultural, socioeconomic, but we are married to an idea. And I'm going to show you something about how that process helps us walk away from an idea and letting go. So I'm going to flip the camera and show you what I'm talking about. Here's the painting, the main part. So I began the concept with this stretch of fabric. I love texture. I'm going through a phase. It's called my industrial chic phase. I want it to have a very industrial design type of feel. In this piece, I've added hardware, cardboard, and very thick fabric to give it texture and a story. So this was the main concept. It was a metaphor. It's supposed to be a window, but we can't see through the window. And it basically depends, in looking at this window, what do we imagine is on the other side? So it's the power of our imagination. Whatever I imagine is on the other side of this window that I can't see through, well, that's the reflection of my life, of my mindset. And again, I spent hours on this and I was stuck, married to this idea. So over here, I already stuck this piece in. And as I'm sticking this piece in, I decide, okay, let me just hold on a minute, step away. And I literally stared at the piece for about an hour because this didn't feel right. I didn't like it. And it's a metaphor for life. We do things and they don't feel right, and yet we push ourselves to keep doing it rather than trusting our intuition. Something in this piece didn't feel right. And this whole concept of overcoming, seeing beyond barriers, is something that was reinforced in my years at Cirque du Soleil when I witnessed their creative process. And they were stuck with either a technical challenge or a simple choreographic art direction challenge. And they sort of made one of two choices. Either they made the challenge become a part of the show, or they just simply focused on there is a solution. Everything has a solution. Let's sit back and allow the theater, allow the technicality of the stage to talk back to us and provide us with the answer. Life is full of those moments. It gives us red flags. It gives us green lights. It gives us warnings. But ultimately, we have to believe and trust our intuition. So it didn't feel right. So what did I do? I did a complete U-turn. I let go of all the time that I've invested. I let go of all my beliefs and this concept that I'd married myself to. And I just decided, you know what? Let it go. Move on. So I sacrificed this whole concept and I changed it by adding one of my favorite words, but I added it in French. Parce que oui, mesdames et messieurs, je parle encore le français. C'est une tellement jolie langue. C'est très, très romantique. It's a very romantic language. So I wrote my favorite word, which is hope, but I wrote it in French. So the word in French is l'espoir. There's a beautiful expression, l'espoir fait vivre. Hope gives life, hope makes life. Now, usually here's where I had to get creative. L'espoir is normally written L''P''O''I''R. So I use this piece of cardboard as the apostrophe. So there it is, the word l'espoir. Hope has been one of my foundations. It's one of my core values, and I like to believe, I like to think that I'm a very resilient human being. And a big part of my resilience is built on the premise of creativity and an adaptable mindset. Charles Darwin once said something along the premise of it's not the most intelligent or the strongest of the species that survives. It's the species, it's the one that is most able to adapt. So life is all about adaptability, and that leads to resilience. When you have the creativity, when you have the confidence you can overcome anything and everything, you simply become a survivor, a stronger human being. In case you didn't know, my artwork has depth and meaning. Wait, there's more. There's one more element that I want to share with you about this piece. To further enhance the piece, I wanted to add what's called perspective. Traditional art perspective, you know, those lines, things fade into the distance, other ways of creating perspective in the art world. Quick art lesson 101, quick way of creating perspective is what's called atmospheric perspective, where things that are in the distance are not as clearly outlined. And some of the modern artists, some of the modern masters like Picasso, Matisse, Cézanne, they found different ways to create a sense of perspective that was not traditional. They threw out conventionality, which I absolutely love. So I got creative and added my own way of adding an element of depth to the piece, and I'm going to show you what I mean. From a distance, we see the basic abstract work. We haven't yet seen the word hope, l'espoir. And so what I'm inviting the viewer to do is to come closer, and then it becomes a sort of a shift in perspective, because as they get closer, things start to appear that were not visible from a distance, giving an element of depth, perspective. L'espoir, mesdames et messieurs, hope, one of the most beautiful and powerful words in any language.